Hey LinkedIn, just thought I'd throw this out there, new quick video. There is a lot of noise right now with various different things that are going on in the world, whether it's banking and inflation and different things like that. And I just want to say to anybody who's out there in sales or entrepreneurship or growth of any type, it can be very, very distracting. And when I started this company in 2008, it was a very distracting environment. There was a lot of noise going on, and it's kind of like going back to the signal versus noise. You've got to focus on the signal. And you got to focus on what's vital. It's easy to get caught up in things and just getting kind of overwhelmed and distracted, and now you're procrastinating. And one of the things I've always done is just kind of would write down, what am I trying to do? Right? What am I trying to do? Focus on that vision and then articulate what's vital. What's vital? What do I have to do? And really focus on those things. And the reality is that in business, a lot of things can kind of just be noise and fluff, and you can get distracted by the noise and fluff and then fall behind. And what you want to do is really focus on the things that are really, really important, and then lean into those and do as much as you can to go and make as much progress as you can. And in many cases, early days I used to say sales handles all, and it's not entirely true, but sales revenue does kind of handle all. And so you really want to focus on, how can I support sales? How can we support pre-sales? How can we support the sales team? How can we support, if it's channel sales, if you have a channel, how can we support training for sales? What can we do to help drive those things, including things like improving the products and improving the customer service and things like that. But there's also a lot of noise around things like marketing and sales. And quite frankly, I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, look, in B2B sales, how people get to me, it's actually quite simple, or how I buy is actually quite simple. And there's so much noise out there with a lot of different products and services. And the reality is that a lot of it, in my view, is fluff. It's not actually how I hear about it or how I end up buying. And buying in B2B is still very human. It's very H to H, right? It's very human to human. Despite AI, despite this, despite all those things, like, the reality is that there's another human on the other end of the buying cycle. They have a problem, they have a need, they have a challenge. They don't know you, right? You have to find a way to get to that person in the most one-to-one, like, linear way possible. And then you need to find a way to, have the right assets, have the right material, have the things that are going to communicate to their needs and wants, communicate to their challenges, and then be able to arm the team so they can follow up and follow through the entire sales cycle with every asset they need at every stage to be able to close a deal. Certainly in B2B, and even in other forms of selling, there is a linear sort of logical flow to it. And there can be different pockets where people learn about things, but if you really, really look at, like, the last product you bought or the last thing that you saw or whatever, how did that go when you really think about it? Like, where did you hear about it? How did that go? And I think that's always important to look at in terms of how are you reaching out to the buyers. And I think, quite frankly, a lot of people in sales, it's easy to get distracted by the noise and confusion because it's somewhat of a non-confront connected to what actually needs to get done, which is, you got to call the customers, right? You got to email the customers. You got to pursue the customer. You got to take probably what would be considered the hard road, the one that's going to require some work. A lot of people trying to shortcut it, trying to automate this, automate that. The reality is, some things just can't really be shortcutted. You got to do the work, So in this kind of setting, I would encourage you to just outwork everything, focus on what's vital, define what you're trying to do, and then just go and take massive action and go and do that thing and outwork every single thing that comes up and focus on those key things right now. Those are the things that sort of move the world and grease the lines and make everything else go. But when you get caught up in any level of distraction or dispersal, it's like, that's when things seize up. So really focus on that. Hope that helps. Any feedback, love to hear it below.